Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again for another Zoom podcast for WKS. This time I'm with Jim Birmingham. How are you doing, Jim?
Not too bad, considering it's the end of the world.
It has been a very strange year. So,
yeah.
So how have you fared through it then?
Well, because it is a year into now, just about. The first lockdown, I think I did my last gig on the 19th of March last year, when the first lockdown was about to start. I think it was the following day that the first lockdown started. And was that 3 months? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, something like
that. Then I had a few bits and pieces in over the summer, so that was survivable. And then the next lockdown came. I had a nice November and Christmas sorted. That all went out the window. And then now here we are, coming to the end, hopefully, of this lockdown. But who knows? I've got some bits that have just come out now. All the March stuff has just come out. Got some bits in from April onwards, but who knows?
Right. So do you want to sort of tell the viewers, obviously, because we've done an interview before, but a lot of the people that have joined the podcast series won't have heard the SoundCloud stuff. So do you want to sort of start off by telling us a bit like how it started for you musically?
Yeah. Well, I was bored one summer with a mate of mine, the summer of '69, in fact, and we decided to have a go at writing some songs. We didn't play any instruments or anything, just to relieve a bit of boredom, and enjoyed it so much that continued on from there and bought instruments and had a little band and things like that. Joined the Navy. It's difficult to be in a band in the Navy because everybody moves around individually. In the Army, you go in one big pack, I think, but in the Navy, or trickle drafting, so you could be there on your own. You form a band, and then one of you goes the following week. So through necessity, it became acoustic music, really, just a guitar and writing songs. Then I left the Navy in 1979 to go full time as a cabaret act, which involves musical comedy. So I'm always writing songs for that and entering competitions, bits and pieces. Massive Beatles fan, so there's always an inspiration. There's always a bit of that in any of the tracks I do. And I mean, one of the things I've been doing during this lockdown is writing songs. It's been time to do it and entering competitions and things like that.
Yes.
There was a competition last year at there was a local healthcare company, Ocean Healthcare. They wanted a song, and their strapline was "Live Happy, Care Well." So I wrote a song called "Live Happy, Care Well," and that came first, which is really nice. So that was a couple of bob in the bank to keep it going for 5 minutes.
Nice.
And just cracking on, really. But I'm getting to be very old now, so probably my next course of action is death. I imagine that's my next.
Okay, so what's your creative process like then? So take us through the writing of the last song then.
Actually, the one that I'm just finishing at the moment was inspired by I've joined this group on Facebook called Talent is Timeless, and it's specifically for songwriters aged 50 and over. Prize being a recording session at Abbey Road, and a song contract for certainly the one that they choose, sort of thing. But the theme was it could be about absolutely anything, but they wanted it to be acoustic, which is great because I've been a big fan of acoustic music for a long time. I used to go to folk clubs a lot in the past. And so I wrote a song for that, and it was trying to keep yourself restricted, really, because you know yourself, if you've got like sound modules and things, you can be an orchestra basically, can't you? So I thought, well, I'll try and keep it as acoustic as possible. So that was a nice project, and through that, I've been inspired to write my first ever song in dadgad tuning, which I'd never done before, and that's taken me to a different place, and I'm really enjoying that. But the strange thing was, I've been doing finger picking for the last 3 weeks so much, trying to learn this song, that when I picked up, I'm starting to record it now, and I picked up a plectrum for the first time, and it was like weird. It was I almost had to relearn how to use a plectrum because I'd been just finger picking for 3 weeks. So that's been the inspiration at the minute. But yeah, so I usually this one came about because my missus brought me a video she'd seen on her iPad of a bee that a queen bee that had been found in a lady's back garden with no wings. And of course, it would die pretty soon afterwards. So she took it indoors and she kept it alive. And all you can see on the video, they became friends, and it was unbelievable. This bee and this woman had this connection together. So I wrote this song, Ballad of a Wingless Bee, and that's the one I've been working on at the minute.
Superb, mate, superb. So where can people get hold of your music then?
YouTube, the usual thing. Just type in Arnold Gutbucket. That's my stage name, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces on there.
Yes, yeah.
Some mad stuff and some bits of me on stage and some of my straight songs.
You've had quite a musical career, really, haven't you?
Well, not really. I've had bits of goes at things. I always, if there's a competition, I'll always have a go at competition, especially a songwriting competition. And I like it if there's a definite theme. If they say it's got to be about this, it's got to be about that. That's my favourite bit then, because I know you've got parameters to work within, and it makes it a lot easier. And I'll do the lyrics first and then try and come up with something musically to go with it after. But yeah, I've done a couple of bits. We won, the mate of mine won a Write a Song for Peace competition a few years ago, went to Cork in Ireland and performed it live and won that. And I've actually recorded at Abbey Road already before, where there was a TV show called Get Your Act Together with Ronan Keating. And it was basically a talent show for songwriters. And part of the deal there was we went into a studio, went into Abbey Road for a couple of days with Steve Levine, the record producer. So that was a good experience.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So, what's been your favourite venue that you've performed in?
Oh gosh, I don't actually have particularly venues. It's people that I like. So I've done little sheds that but I've had a fantastic crowd in and really enjoyed it. And I've done, so like I was once supported Engelbert Humperdinck at the Birmingham Symphony Hall, but it was so big, I really didn't like it at all. I mean, the people were nice, so you wouldn't expect to get any yobs or chavs at an Engelbert Humperdinck concert, but you know, there's just no connection when it's as big as that. It's like, no, I'd rather work a small crowd, really.
Superb. Okay, then. So, what's your most useless talent?
My most useless talent?
Yeah.
I think it's probably being able to move my eyebrows with a hair that I actually put into it. So I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Take your hair out. I don't really like taking any hair out because it's rapidly diminishing as it is. I have to tie it in there like that. There we go.
Brilliant.
Isn't it?
That's the one. Absolutely fantastic. So you've mentioned about the lockdown, and do you find yourself writing more music during the lockdown? Was it productive in that sense?
Not really. I mean, I think about it a lot when you're doing other things. If you work, I don't know how you work, but if you're working on a song, whatever else you're doing, you could be in the garden or something, or doing a bit of painting and things, and you're always working on the lyrics. But yeah, I mean, obviously I've had a bit of time to be able to do bits and pieces because I'm not on the road traveling to wherever to try and do a performance, you know. And it's nice just to keep your hand in as much as anything, because you can just go stale, can't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So what is it you like the most about being a music artist then?
I think it's just the satisfaction of creating something from nothing. You know, you've got a blank piece of paper, and at the end of that session that you decided to write a song, you've got something that's got some words and music that didn't exist before. And it's just really nice to sit there and look at that and think, oh, I did that. That's come from me. You know?
I think the last time we spoke, you were doing a song about Tintagel and the bridge at Tintagel.
Oh yes, yeah.
How did that go in the end?
Well, I was a bit disappointed they didn't ask me to the opening of it. I thought, oh,
did they not?
Nice. No, that'd be nice. I had a nice letter from the architect. I sent it to him, and they said that they played it in the office, and everyone was singing along to it, all the rest of it. And I thought, oh, great, you know, that's nice.
Yeah.
And but I was generally impressed with the building of the bridge, and I just felt it's just one of those things. I thought, oh, I'll do a song about it. And sometimes you get invited to do these things, and sometimes you don't. You know?
Yes, yeah, I get that. So, Let's imagine you're talking to a younger version of yourself, you know,
Yeah.
way back. What bit of advice would you give yourself?
Don't get married. I'd probably say go for guitar lessons, because I was basically self-taught for a very long time. And it didn't really matter that much, because I've never been much of a guitarist. I've never been that interested, to be honest. It's just always been a means of writing songs. That's all I've always been interested in. But about 15 years or maybe slightly more ago, I went for my very first guitar lesson, bearing in mind I've been playing guitar since 1969. And it opened my eyes at the things that I learned in a very short time, things that you sort of half know, and you think, oh, that's why that works, or, you know, like, why is that relative minor? Oh, it's because it's got the same notes in as the major chord, and that's why if you're playing something in A minor, you play that pentatonic scale in C, because it's the same notes, and silly little things like that. And suddenly it was like, oh yeah, right, okay. So that's what I would have said. I would have said, go and get some lessons as soon as you can and practice it more.
Brilliant. So do you suffer at times with any kind of like writer's block, or, you know, and how do you get over it if you do?
No, because I think you only tend to get that when you're the sort of person who writes songs for the sake of it. And generally, I don't. I write songs if I've got a particular project in mind. If it's something for my show, then it sort of like it works around that. Or if there's a competition of some kind or something comes up, then it gives you some focus. So yeah, very rarely have a problem with that. But not because I'm special, but just because if you were writing all the time, I could see that occasionally would happen. But I don't get that situation.
Okay, so I mean, you mentioned a few things that in the pipeline type stuff. Have you got any sort of gigs lined up for when we come out of this lockdown?
Yeah, I've got some bits and pieces I've had inquiries for, but of course everything's penciled basically, isn't it? You know, nothing is concrete. You just don't know. I say I had a decent November and December, and then suddenly they were all pulled out at the last minute because of the next lockdown. And I know they reckon this is supposedly the last one, but who can actually say? You know.
No, exactly. Who can say? Yeah, I mean, the thing with opening up and venues, you know, there isn't going to be a lot of money around to pay bands and artists. You know, this is where probably a solo artist is in a little bit better position.
Yeah.
But I can see a lot of musicians having to do stuff again for nothing just to get it going. You know what I mean?
I know, it's just so sad, isn't it? But
it is.
These venues have lost so much money, and literally some of them haven't been open for 12 months, have they?
Yeah.
So if they'll ever recover at all again, really, it's amazing the way it's gone.
Right. Would you? So when we opened up, or if we opened up again, I mean, do you? Because you do sort of like, there's a show that you do, isn't it, as well? It's not just so is that the thing you would carry forward?
Yeah, well, that's my bread and butter. It's a musical comedy show, and under the name of Arnold Gutbucket, and I do mostly hotels and the occasional holiday park, that sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that pays the bill.
Right. What's the most trouble you've ever gotten into?
The most trouble?
Yeah.
With regards what to?
Whichever you want to talk about. Obviously, there's, you know, limits as to really what you can say.
Yeah. No, the only thing that comes to mind was I was doing a New Year's Eve show one time at I can't remember which airport it was, but it was an airport workers. You might say Heathrow. All the staff there have their own social club, so it was one of those type of things. I can't remember which one it was. And I'd literally walked on stage, and it wasn't even a stage; it was just in front of the stage. It was. I was on the floor, so I was on the same level as the audience. And the biggest, fattest bloke I've ever seen in my life literally walked past me within inches. I mean, he was going to be near me wherever he was in the room because of the stuff. So I couldn't let it go, and I got a few laughs at his expense, and that was it. Off he went. Next thing is, I'm packing up to go, and I'm just about to leave the dressing room, and he's waiting for me outside of the dressing room and grabs me round the throat.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm saying, "What's going on?" And he's saying, "Oh, you made me look stupid, blah 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 blah." Anyway, I managed to get him off, and I managed to get a committee man there. I said, explain to this chap what happened. So the committee man says to him, well, you did walk right in front of him. You know, he's a comedy actor. He's not going to just ignore you. How can you expect that to happen, you know? So anyway, they managed to calm him down. And in the end, they said, well, if you go and apologise to my family, we'll call it a day. And I said, well, that's not a problem. I said, I'm not here to upset anybody, you know, if they were genuinely offended. So it directed me to his family. I went over there. I said, I've just come to say, I'm really sorry if you're upset about anything I said about your husband when he came walking across earlier on. And she said, oh, ignore him as a prat.
Well, yeah, brilliant.
Got my head ripped off for nothing.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, final question I ask everybody.
Right.
Is there anybody you'd like to thank for you being here musically now?
George Harrison, probably. When I heard Here Comes the Sun off the Abbey Road album, obviously I was aware of the Beatles. You could not be during the 60s. You'd have to be living under a stone, wouldn't you? But I was never particularly a fan up to, even now I don't particularly like anything up to about 65, but from 65 onwards I thought they were absolutely amazing. And I heard there was a TV program where they were talking about the new album that was about to come out, Abbey Road. And I heard Here Comes the Sun, and I thought, well, I've just got to get that. It's just amazing. And basically sort of went from there. That was it. Yeah, George Harrison.
Superb, mate. Jim, thanks very much for your time and
Craig,
the interview.
You,
and yeah, good luck when we get into it again, and you know, and all that business.
If we do.
Well, yeah, we've always got to see some light at the end, surely.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. And when the sun's out like it is today, actually, nothing seems quite so bad, does it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You take care, Jim. We'll talk soon.
All right, mate.
All right.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Bye.